Good evening, everybody, to the Diamonds Network. Welcome on August 27th, 2015. Diamonds Network Thursday show with this Thursday is Cynthia, Marianne, and Mare. And they're bringing through astrology of this time right now, so we can learn who we really are and keep on expanding in consciousness of who we really are and tangibly manifesting that, helping you build the foundation of that. So welcome, Cynthia, Marianne, and Mare, and I have a couple of surprises for you guys and everybody today. I first want to play a short clip, which is like 2 minutes or less, because Cynthia so much inspires me, and this is what you guys will get plus way more than me out of these calls as you listen to Cynthia, Marianne, and Mare. She so much inspires me. This is what I did. We have a series called Raw Speaks that me and Christopher Stephen Jacobs are doing, and at the very, very beginning I made an introduction. And I just want you to hear this, Cynthia, and in the background, as you hear me speaking, it's just a short poem, is music playing. And this is Cynthia's angel music, and I think it's called Initiation, the master one. So I just want to bring some inspiration that Cynthia gives me. Give it back to her. So here we go. Raw speaks. See through all eyes, hear through all ears. Be the voice. Be a bee. Pollinate. Feel the beauty. See the beauty. Be the beauty. Wrap in supreme happiness with maximum efficiency, minimum effort. The highest good of all concerned. The law of one. Shine, you diamond, shine. I want to thank Christopher Stephen Jacobs for composing that together and fusing that together. So just a little update before we get on with Cynthia, Marianne, and Mare, is just an update of the shows. Be sure to listen to the Raw Speak series. We're on number 4 now. We're expanding on disclosure that's never been put out there in quite such detail with Cosmic, David Wilcock, and Corey Good. And they've been really good so far. We're expanding on the more and bringing more detail, even new detail out more on what they bring out. Some of the shows, there's a new technology we have never heard of before. I asked, and one of the ETs shared with us what's coming our way. We've never heard this in the Intel world. Got to go listen to it. I think it's number 3 or 4. And just for example there. Also, I'm finding Thursdays. You guys got to come on Thursdays, please, on Candy and my show on Thursday, and then Cynthia and Marianne's show on Thursdays. I'm finding it's the shows of beauty. It's inspiring us, lifting us up, giving us the energy to go through this ascension, expanding of consciousness. So it's really good. So pass it on, please, you guys. And tonight's reference is number 273 on the recorded line. And you can listen to all the shows on the recorded line, 209-255-1099, pin 883267 #. And tonight's 273 # reference. Also, just be sure to go to the Diamonds blog, Diamonds with an S, forever, 31.blogspot.com. You can find the YouTube links on the right, and lots of good stuff, and all the show links are there too. All right, so I think that's all I wanted to bring in. I'm requesting a favor from you, Cynthia, Marianne, and Mare, and this is another inspiration I got from what you said this last week, Cynthia. And I took that, and it kept rolling in my mind, and I said, I got to do this on a whim. I called Mim, and she goes, oh, wow, I just got my computer back, and I looked at something I wrote a long time ago, and when I looked at it, I thought of you, and now you call me. I said, Mim, I want to do a meditation, short meditation on this subject. And we did probably a 12, 13-minute meditation. And I'm not going to give the subject away. I'm requesting if I could play that at the very end of the show. It will tuck you into bed and bring you into sweet dreams. And I want to let you know that's from inspiration from Cynthia. So
that sounds like a winner. Thank you. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That would just be wonderful.
And you'll know what you said when you hear the meditation.
I can hear it in your voice.
Okay, so with that, listen to some more angel music, a minute or two, and we'll bring on Marianne, Mare, and Cynthia. And I love you guys. I love you, Lily, and I love all of you coming from all over the world. Please take it to heart to post this to your friends, and whenever you're doing your research or listening to YouTube, post the Diamonds link on the sites that you go to, or Diamonds show on the sites you go to, on any YouTube that you watch, no matter what. If the subject's way off, just post it. And you plant a seed for the whole of humanity waking up. You never know, but that's a seed planted, and that seed will sprout and flower one of these days, and you have the responsibility and the heart to plant that seed. So help us help you in the Diamonds Network. Let's all sparkle. By the way, in the literature, I've been studying the ascension body, the rainbow body, transfiguration, as they call it in the Bible, ascension, and one of the ancient religions called our transfiguration, guess what? The diamond body. Woo! Hey, that's why we're doing Diamonds Network, guys. So here we go. Here's the music.
Thank you, Liz. This is Marianne. Welcome to the show. Thank you for a wonderful opening, Liz, and I got you written in for sending us off. So, also, I want to thank the Diamond family, Liz, Lily, Candy, Chris, Cynthia, and Mare. And I also want to thank all the Galactics who are listening to this call. And also I want to thank you, the listeners who are on the line right now. And I know you have so many other things to do, and we thank you. I thank you for taking the time and being with us tonight as a family. So we will be doing the Law of One. I've got an article to read. I talked to Cynthia today, or a few days ago, and there's an article I'm going to read, and I ran this by Cynthia, and she said, yes, that's definitely appropriate. It's a good time to read this article and to bring it forth. And Also, of course, we're having Cynthia Mayer on, and we will be talking about current astrology, and there is a full moon on Saturday. So, Cynthia, if you would like to start things off with the Law of One, please.
Thank you, Marianne. I would love to. And I just want to stress to everybody how important it is to learn and memorize this law. I'm really serious, folks, and put it to the test. It's short, it's quick, it's easy, it's logical, but this is the original law of creation. And all other laws come from it, all other laws. And when you use this law, it overrides all those. It overrides all lesser laws. And it activates DNA. And that's physical DNA, emotional DNA, mental DNA, and spiritual DNA. And this is very important. And Marianne, I'm just going to take a minute here. I want to explain something. Liz kept talking about our diamond bodies. Well, I want to briefly state, before we do this Law of One, what I've learned about that. I've learned that a lot of these, and we'll see if it's true or not, but this is just the intel over many years, that a lot of our brothers and sisters are from they have biological organisms. They're biologically an organism. They're our brothers and sisters. They have physical bodies that are silicon-based. Okay? They're silicon-based from what we're hearing. And we, on this planet, are carbon-based. All right? Now, if all this is true, let's just look at this real quick. If you get a high-quality quartz crystal, and it's clear, and you cut it and you facet it, and you set it next to an identical clear diamond, where you can barely tell a difference just to the eye. They both have piezoelectric qualities. You can put that quartz crystal in a radio set and it will work, or you could put the diamond and it will work too. They look alike, they operate alike. So what's the difference? Well, this is a crude example, but it makes my point. Get a hammer and smash the quartz crystal, and it will shatter. Take that same hammer, and as hard as you can do it, way harder than you even thought of doing to the quartz crystal, try to smash the diamond. Ain't going to work. The only thing that can hurt a diamond is another diamond. That's the difference. And it's why there's such a war over us. And the Earth is the masculine planet under Uranus. Saturn is the receptive planet under Uranus. And Uranus is omnipotence. It's divine will. And if you're going to be the physical manifestation of divine will, you have to be a diamond. Now, you can be a physical manifestation of divine love, and probably silicon-based is fine. Or if you want to be a physical manifestation of divine wisdom, probably a silicon-based biological, evolution would be fine. I mean, we'll find out. But if you're going to be divine will, omnipotence, all power, guess you better go carbon, huh? So that's why there's been this huge effort to control us. They couldn't overcome us, but they could try to control us and use us, our powers, our diamond powers. And so when you do this Law of One, it means just that. It means we are one, not two, not good versus bad. It means we are one, period. And that's the truth. And when you say, When one is harmed, all are harmed. That's the truth, too, and that's been proven in quantum physics for a very long time, with lots of books written about it. And when one is helped, all are helped. Same thing. You can't do anything to any one part of the creation without making ripple effects, both in time and space. That's what the laws of cause and effect are all about. And so, therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask that only the highest good of all concerned happen. And I give thanks that this is done, so be it. That's the law of one, and it works. So let's do this together. We can unmute the phones or not.
Yeah, I'm going to unmute.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to say a line.
Hold on, Cynthia.
And then everybody say it together. And this is very powerful, because there are people listening to this call and who will be listening to the recordings of this call that are galactics. And they are listening to what we want. And those people on this call who are in human bodies on planet Earth, we are the natives of the planet. And these galactics want to hear from us. And they are. And when they hear us do this law of one, that's it. That's what we're saying we want. We want the highest good of all concerned, period. No more win-lose, no more us-them. We're going from the duality to the unity, from the two to the one. And that will create a triangle. We'll go from this flat plane of a continuum of polarities fighting each other to the middle point and up higher on a higher frequency. And that makes a triangle. And a triangle is the strongest shape and solid that there is. So let's do the law of one. And as you do the law of one, what I'm saying here is do it as a king and a queen. If you're female, do it as a queen. And if you're male, do it as a king. Because I'll tell you something, they don't even come close to what you is. You're not just kings and queens. You are sons and daughters of God. And that is very, very powerful. So whether we believe it or not, or understand or not, we still can accept that we are people from planet Earth, and possibly most of us can accept that there are galactics helping us. And when we do this law of one, they're hearing us in a united voice, saying, we are meeting as council. This is the Diamond Council. And we are voting, and what we're voting for is this, and we give the law of one. And that's the only way. That is the only way. When you make a blade, a magic sword, you get one stroke, not two. So if you have a good guy and a bad guy, that's two. But when you have it all being one, that's one. That's one stroke. You're saying, I am asking for the highest good of all concerned. Why? Because we're all one. So let's do it now. Take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath.
Hold on, let me change the mode.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we are all one. Okay, we are all one.
We are all one.
We are all one. All one.
When one is harmed, all are harmed.
When one is harmed, all are harmed.
When one is helped, all are helped.
When one is helped, all are helped.
Therefore, in the name of who I am.
Therefore,
who I am.
And I am one with all there is.
And I am one with all there is.
I ask that only the highest good.
I ask that only the highest good
of all concerned happen.
of all concerns.
And I give thanks that this is done.
And
I give thanks that this is done.
So be it, and so it is.
So be it.
So be it.
So it is.
And that's it.
So it is.
There's no more. There's no art. Bill of Rights. There's no Amendment 1, 2, and 3. This is what we. This is what we want. It's simple. It's clear. It's to the point. It's not debatable. And guess what? It works. And it's the only thing that will work. Why? Because when one is harmed, all are harmed. Period. That's why. And so we're asking that only the highest good of all concern happen. It's the most selfish thing we can do, and it's the most unselfish thing we can do, and that's the whole point. It is where selfish and unselfish become one. Not two. The law of one is the epitome of selfishness, and it is the epitome. So, what we just did was like a Congress. It was an assembly of citizens or natives of planet Earth, and we have voted.
Hey, excuse me, there's somebody on the moderator line that has to star 6. I hear dishes and everything.
Yeah.
So my vote is the law won.
Yes. Okay, Marianne, why don't I am so thankful that you are reading this article. And just before you do, let me just I thank God we have 2 hours. I would feel guilty about taking so much time here. But what she's going to read about happened in 1972. And she is reading it out of a book that talks about it, but I was aware of it at the time. And because I was aware of it at the time, I never was afraid again, ever. In other words, up until that point, everybody was on pins and needles. We'd been through the Vietnam War, and, you could smell the rats in the kitchen from a mile off. I mean, it was pretty obvious what was going on. And it was scary. But after this thing that she's going to read you about happened, I knew we were fine. I knew it was a done deal. And even though we've gone through all this stuff, and there's a certain entertainment factor to it, at no time was I worried about it. And when she reads this article, you'll understand what happened to my mind and my heart at that time, because I knew this had happened, to where after that I just didn't worry about anything anymore. So Marianne, with that send-off, thank you for reading this article. Marianne, you might have to unmute. Hello? We will get you back here.
Maybe she's double muted. There you go.
There you are. Okay. Well, with this send-off, here is Marianne with what happened to make me, Cynthia Rose-Young Schlosser. At the time, it was just Cynthia Rose-Young. Stop worrying about anything. Back to you, Marianne.
That is perfect. And I felt the same way after I read the book, and I found the article years later afterwards, and I came back to it and was like, wow. I felt the same way, and it is my go-to article when I feel things are, getting a little dicey, and there's bit of stuff going on in September. So this is why I pulled this article out. And
Marianne, can you speak a little bit louder?
Yes, okay.
Muchas gracias.
Can you hear me now?
That's better, yes. Thank you.
This is from Bob Fissel's book. Nothing in this book is true, but it's exactly how things are. And it was written in 1999. And Jean Haynes' lover actually posted this chapter that I'm going to read on her site. And the title of that chapter is What Happened in 1972 That Made This Shift Unique. And it's chapter 14. And I'm just going to set up the story. In this article, there are two groups that are referred to, and both are focused on the year 1972. The first group is the Caesareans, who about 200 years ago were very concerned about our planet and foresaw an event in 1972 that the Earth would not make it. And this article tells us what they did. And the second group is David Suzuki, Drunvalo, and a team of people watching the activity of our sun. David Suzuki predicted that there would be an explosion on the sun and a pole shift. So, now the article. 1972. To begin this story, we must go far back in time to when Thoth and other ascended masters were... Somebody's line's open. All right, thank you. Let me start over. To begin this story, we must go far back in time to when Thoth and other ascended masters were synthetically creating the Christ consciousness grid to heal what had happened between the Martians and the Earthlings in Atlantis. When they began their construction of the grid, they made the hole in Egypt that connects to the flower of life in the halls of Amenti and activated their geomancy with sacred points all over the world. They then calculated that we would matriculate into the fourth dimension by the winter of 1998. And at that time, only a very few people would make it. There was nothing unusual about this experiment of creating the Christ consciousness grid synthetically. Apparently, it's done on a regular basis. That is, jumping planets up or down dimensional levels. No one in the universe paid any particular attention to this experiment. It was no big deal. However, about 200 years ago, the Caesareans, our father aspect, became aware of a high possibility that we were not going to make it at all. They foresaw an event that was going to happen in 1972, and they knew that we had to be at the fourth dimensional level by then in order to survive. If we were there by 1972, there would be no problem. But if not, everything would be wiped out, the entire planet. And as time passed, it increasingly seemed as if we would not reach that consciousness level. The Caesareans did not want to see us eliminated. The Syrians did not want to see us eliminated. We are, in a sense, their children, and they have that special parental love connection with us. They started searching for a way to solve this problem, but were unsuccessful. There was no known way to get a planet at our level of awareness through the changes that were coming. When this had happened in the past, it meant that the planet was destroyed. The Syrians kept looking, however, and eventually they discovered that someone in a faraway galaxy had conceived an idea that might work, but had never been tried. It was still not totally certain that we were not going to make it. Consciousness can and does make quantum leaps all the time, but the Syrians were assuming the worst. So they went ahead and prepared everything necessary to implement the idea. They created a living vehicle that was 50 miles long, cigar-shaped, black and seamless, with both Karman and silicon life forms on it merged into one. The whole thing was a self-aware living unit. It had a transparent area on one end and was manned by about 300 to 350 men and women of the Syrian race from the third planet. They wore white uniforms with gold emblems, dedicating as much time to this project as was necessary. They also made 8 little flying saucer-type vehicles, or ships, that were to be unmanned. These were approximately 12 to 20 feet in length. The Syrians assembled all this together, worked out all its possibilities, then set it aside and waited. Meanwhile, back on Earth, in early 1972, Drunvalo was directed to Canada as soon as he got here. He had to make a secret connection with a man named David Suzuki. Suzuki is a very highly disciplined person who works on many different levels. He studied genetics not by looking through a microscope, but by looking through a telescope. He believed in the principle, as above, so below. If you were looking at really big things, you could see all the motions more clearly. He watched the movements of asteroids and applied that to his understanding of genetics. Brilliant. Suzuki was also interested in the activity of our sun and had a team of people watching it all the time. He knew that one day in 1950, researchers had witnessed a phenomenon that was unknown to human experience. A spiraling light came off the sun and went rapidly right past the Earth. They had no idea what this was, but it was an indication of something unusual occurring. As the Earth rotates on its axis, the axis itself wobbles, creating several cycles. The slow 25,920-year precession, and another that is the inclination itself oscillating back and forth, which takes about 46,000 years. There are also other motions. One in particular takes 14 years. According to Suzuki, we were on the furthest most point of this cycle in 1950. When the spiral went flying past the Earth, the area subtended by the wobble began to widen, the equivalent of a top slowing down. It took the researchers 14 years of study before concluding that this change would lead to a shifting of the poles. By 1964, they were pretty certain of this. Okay. Suzuki's team studied the data for 4 more years. Excuse me, just a minute. Okay, extremely dry here in Texas. Okay, Suzuki's team studied the data for 4 more years before they acted. In 1968, they were convinced that the shift was imminent. Let me get some water here.
Listen, while you do that, I just want to say this, is at the time this was going on, I was living in an apartment in Atlanta.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, Marianne, I just took a second to make a comment while you got water, so just go ahead and drink a little more.
All right, thank you.
Relax those throat. It's the throat chakra. Anyway, just a break, because I've been having the same thing go on. There's something about the throat chakra right now. But anyway, we were experimenting with Patrick Flanagan and the pyramid power stuff, and we were actually sleeping in a working pyramid energy generator that we had made ourselves. And we were aligned true north, our heads to the north, the whole 9 yards, and we felt all this happening because we'd been studying deep meditation anyway. I mean, we were, deep meditators at the time. And what she's talking about, we actually felt all that happening. A lot of people were so busy, they probably weren't paying attention, but it was life-changing when I felt this. But go ahead, Marianne, back to you.
Okay. In 1968, they were convinced that the shift was imminent. Suzuki published a paper that was first distributed only to the Canadian government, then to the United States and most other governments, saying that we were going to have a new North and South Pole. One moment.
Wow, this is interesting. This must be pretty important information, because otherwise why would this,
I apologize. It's really dry here in Texas.
Yeah, but Marianne, what I was getting, what I was feeling, and this is just what I was getting, is that this information is so important that there's still some remnants of Armageddon going on, and there may be some effort to close your throat chakra. So can we just do a quick prayer about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was going to put the symbol of the law of one is on this call. Go ahead.
Yeah. So whatever is affecting your throat chakra, we ask you to come and be with us now, known or unknown, seen or unseen, whatever it may be, understood or not understood. But whatever it is, we ask you to come and be here with us now. And we thank you for coming, and we thank you for being, and we thank you for surviving, and we thank you for doing the best you can. And we ask for your highest good, because we're all one. You're part of us, and we're part of you. We're all one. And when one is harmed, all are harmed. If you're causing harm, it's harming you. And if something is harming you, it's harming us. And when one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am and who all of us are, and we're all one, with all there is, we ask that only the highest good of all concerned, including you, happen. And we give thanks that this is done with maximum efficiency, minimum effort, and the highest good of all the children. So be it, and so it is. Back to you, Marianne. I hope that relaxed it just a little tiny bit more.
That was intense.
Is this one of your famous understatements? We need to have an understatement shop, and we need to write all these down, and you can sign them. People can hang them on the wall.
Oh, my God.
I love you. Okay, back to you.
Thank you. Wow. I'm glad you didn't listen to that. Okay. All right. He said, this is Suzuki. He said the spiral of light was coming off the sun like clockwork every 3 years. Only it was increasing in intensity each time. From all their calculations of the past 18 years, they have concluded that sometime in 1972, between August and November, the energy level would be such that there would be an explosion on the sun. And an explosion unparalleled in our experience. They predicted that there would be another explosion in 1984, and very soon after that, we would experience a pole shift. The actual event happened on August 7th, 1972. From our observation, we didn't know, of course, that the Syrians had intervened. It was the biggest thing that we have ever seen. Anthony R. Curtis, in his book, The Space Almanac, called it the most intense solar storm ever recorded. According to Science News, the early days of August saw a severe disturbance on the sun that produced 4 major flares between August 2nd and August 7th. The ones recorded in early August were among the most major ever recorded. August 7th, flare ran the X-ray sensors off the scale.
Yep.
The solar wind, which has an average velocity of 500 kilometers per second or 1,000,000 miles per hour, got up to 2.5 million miles an hour for 3 days. Then it dropped down to 1.5 million miles an hour for 30 days. This was considered impossible. Yet, it happened. Accounts of the events were published in all the major scientific literature of the world and many of the major newspapers. But scientists didn't know what it meant. All they did was publish the data. After 6 months, Suzuki called a worldwide scientific meeting to discuss the implications of this explosion. Drunvalo left him about 3 months before, so he didn't know what happened at that gathering. What he does know is that previous to the meeting, that is from August to November 1972, there was a great amount of information published and written about this. After the meeting in June or July of 1973, there was a total worldwide blackout. Sorry, someone's calling in. Just as if the great event had never happened. If the Syrians had not intervened, the explosion would have definitely killed us all. It would have killed everything on the planet, right down to the level of microbes and algae. What really happened was that our sun was about to expand in a giant red pulse out to the orbit of Jupiter or thereabouts. For 5 billion years or so, ours had been a hydrogen sun where 2 hydrogen atoms fused together to make helium. This has been the source of all light and life on Earth. When the helium that has been building up reaches a critical mass, you get another reaction, with 3 helium atoms coming together to form carbon.
There you go.
At that moment, the sun pulses. A shifting of the sun poles also took place as a result of a bubble, 2/3 the size of the sun, huge, forming on its surface. If we had been prepared for this, that is, consciously prepared, if we were at the Christ consciousness level or higher, we could have just turned into it, and it would have been a beautiful trip. But since we had fallen so far in awareness from the events in Atlantis 16,000 years ago, we certainly were not prepared. At the time, 144,000 different races from the other dimensional levels came in here to assist. By mid-January 1972, about 80,000 of them had already arrived. They had a very intense discussion among themselves on the subject of the impending red pulse, and about 79,900 of these cultures said, there is no hope. There is no possibility of the humans surviving. Let's get out of here. They went home because non-interference was their policy. The other 100 or so cultures, the Pleiadians, the Aldebarans, the Turians, and others led by the Syrians, decided to stay and help. The Syrians not only had the hardware and software in place, they also had ambassadors. The moment the situation was declared hopeless, they sent the ambassadors to Galactic Command to ask for permission to carry out their experiment. If anyone at all, even just one person, were to survive this explosion, the Syrians would have been refused. But because no one on Earth was going to survive, they did receive permission. They were first asked how many survivors they thought there would be as a result of this experiment. They really didn't know, but said, well, probably at least 2, but no more than 10 will make it. The key conditioning for receiving permission was the belief that at least one person would survive. In truth, as this was a radical thing that had never been tried before, they really didn't know how many would survive. After receiving permission, the Syrians immediately went to work, and within 30 days had everything in place. They launched a large cigar-shaped object just outside the membrane of the consciousness of the Earth at 440,000 miles out, and they placed it 1 overtone higher, so it was invisible to us. They placed the 8 small flying saucer-type ships on the apexes of the 8 tetrahedral points. That is, the 8 points of the star tetrahedron around the planet. There is a star tetrahedron inscribed in the Earth. There is also a much bigger one around 10,000 miles above the surface. The points are the chakra system of the planet. Again, these were set one-dimensional overtone higher than the Earth. Then, from the cigar-shaped ship, they shot a beam of light, the likes of which we do not have. The beam was about 8 inches in diameter, making up little segments of different colored digital lights moving, of course, at the speed of light. This light was coming from one dimensional world into another. The beam entered into the North Pole and hit the little flying saucer-type ship that was at the tetrahedral point. From there, the immense amount of information was translated into 3 primary rays, red, blue, and green, that were beamed to the next 3 ships. These ships repeated this and sent the rays to the next 3 ships until they ended up at the South Pole. There they were translated back into the information and shot into the center of the Earth. From the center of the Earth, by refraction, the information came out in little tiny beams of light by the billions, all over the planet. As these beams came out, they connected to all the humans and animals on the planet. Remember, the Syrians had to protect us from a wall of flame, and this is how they did it. Not only did they have to protect us, they also had to do it in a way that we didn't know we were being protected. Our knowing would have completely changed the human equation. They also had to speed up our evolution so we could get to where we could handle being inside the sun. They set a holographic field around the Earth, then they set up a holographic field around each person and animal. They then began to program events into these fields. In the first few months, they didn't change anything. They just got control. They programmed our sky into a hologram, and they kept everything going as though nothing unusual were happening. Sounds like today. Then they began to program events into our lives so that we would evolve as rapidly as possible. At the same time, they were protecting us from the wall of flame. From the summer of 1972 to the summer of 1974, we were moving in an entirely new direction. We began to accelerate in our evolution. Then it started to get out of hand. We began to really accelerate. This experiment was much more successful than the Syrians ever imagined. Instead of 10 or so making it through, the number is now up to 1.5 billion or so people who will make it through the next level. And this was written in 1999, I think. We have obviously been protected from the sun. We're still here. The Syrian intervention also bought time for the synthetic Christ consciousness grid to be completed. Without this grid, no one can make it to the next level. This grid was completed on February 4th, 1989. Normally, when a planet goes into Christ consciousness, only a very few people initially make it through to live and understand the new reality. The rest drop down to a lower level of consciousness, and only over a very long period of time do the initial few pull the rest up until the whole planet reaches Christ consciousness. There are, as well, different levels of Christ consciousness. The level of Christ consciousness in the fourth dimension are the 10th, 11th, and 12th overtones. It usually takes a long period of time for a planet to evolve through these stages. The first two overtones of the fourth dimension contain the astral plane, where very powerful thought forms have taken on a life of their own. The third overtone is where most people go when they die. The fourth contains fairies and tree spirits. The angelic realms are from the seventh to the ninth overtones. It isn't until you reach the 10th overtone of the fourth dimension that you attain Christ consciousness. It is to one of these higher overtones of the fourth dimension that we as a planet are headed. And we are going in the fifth dimension. The geometry of a grid around the planet changes as the consciousness of the planet evolves. These changes are normally very rare, usually every 1,000 years or so. Changes on the grid around the Earth are now happening by the minute. This has attracted the attentions of beings from all parts of the galaxy. Because we are inside the system, it is difficult for us to know how fast we are moving. But for anyone outside observing us, it is obvious. What is happening here is unheard of. It has gotten to the point where we are on the interdimensional galactic television. That's why the two higher overtones are like parking lots. Everyone is tuned into us to monitor this event because they know that whatever happens to us here will affect them too. All life everywhere will be touched by this. According to Thoth, an analogy for the speed at which we are evolving is one of a newborn baby becoming an adult in 15 minutes. And that is probably shortened by now. That was in 1991. Now the infant would mature in a matter of seconds. And remember, this article was written in 1999. This is totally unique. There are no memory patterns for it anywhere, even on the Melchizedek level. It appears to be the most successful experiment that anyone, anywhere, has ever conducted. Drunvalo now suspects that this may have been in the mind of God from the very beginning. However, the Ascended Masters don't know what the outcome will be. Those wanted Drunvalo to be very clear about this. It thus far appears to be a very successful experiment. But the Masters keep figuring out game plans that become obsolete before they can even implement them. Originally, Thoth and other Ascended Masters thought the planet would reach critical mass around the last week of August, 1990, or the first week of September, 1990, and that by the spring of 1991 we would go into another dimensional level. The Masters said that they would bond together, leave the Earth in a ball of light, and go into another level of consciousness. That would pull us up and serve as the trigger for everyone to ascend. Instead, what happened in 1990 was that Iraq invaded Kuwait. The major nations of the Earth did band together, but in preparation for war. Because of this, the Ascended Masters held off. We created planetary unity of a sort by banding together against one man in one country. This was unique in our history. Never before in human history has essentially the entire planet melded together against one person. Even the world wars were very different from this. Because of the Iraq War, the Ascended Masters created a new game plan whereby 32 of them would go off at one time in a group Merkaba. They actually went through the great wall of voidness into the next octave. This is how Thoth left on May 4th, 1991. That would bring us up a little bit at a time instead of all at once. Every time they do this, there will be a rapid expansion in our consciousness. They are timing these events now. Before Thoth left, he told Drunvalo that he suspects we will not go through the sudden and violent shifting of the poles that usually accompanies a dimensional change. Rather, we will go through a series of steps with our eyes open, and we will do it very harmoniously. The Ascended Masters are going to try to make this a controlled shift of consciousness. Let's return to August and September 1999 for a moment. We did reach critical mass. We had the necessary 7 to 10%, or roughly 500 million people, who had opened up enough that they would go through. Ascension should have taken place. The numbers kept growing. We went way beyond critical mass. Then, in January 1992, another phenomenon took place. For the first time in 16,000 years, the light on the planet was more powerful than the darkness. And it still wasn't igniting. Something else was clearly happening. A cold fusion process, if you will. However, because the light was now in control, the Syrians decided we should be given back our power. The programming of the earth, how the events take place in our world, was given back to us. Since January 1992, what occurs on the planet is up to us completely. If we could just understand the nature of the situation, that our thoughts and feelings are creating the reality, we could change very rapidly. Drunvalo believes that all previous predictions regarding the future of the earth are no longer valid. The Syrian experiment of 1972, very interesting there. The Syrian experiment of 1972 changed everything. Nostradamus was very accurate in his... Hold on here. We may need to do the law of one again.
Okay. I tell you what, Marianne, I'm getting a hit to say something. I think that may be why that happened. And what I wanted to say is this. you've heard of all this stuff about planet Nibiru. Well, I have a friend who is so brilliant, genius, astrologer, astronomer, ... that it's just hard to even comprehend. And he said that that planet is not due here for another, I think, 1,500 years or something. But what I wanted to say is that there's Sirius A and Sirius B. And in that system, there's a Sirius planet that orbits our sun like every 3,600 years or something. I forget how much he said, but it's thousands of years. And the ancient hieroglyphics, the ancient stuff that has survived, talks about this. And you can see why it was the Syrians who rescued us, because we're actually a part of their system. We're actually a part of the Sirius system. So they were merely protecting part of their system. We are a part of their system. So it's family. It's family coming and rescuing family. So, Marianne, if all is well, let me hand it back over to you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. The Syrian experiment of 1972 changed everything. Nostradamus was very accurate in his predictions up until 1972. And since then, he has fallen way off. Suzuki predicted a pole shift in 1984. He was sure of it. When 1984 came, we were in a totally different place. Those believed that we were going to have the most unique experience that life has ever had. When the time comes, every last person left on the planet will ascend into the next dimensional level together. There will be people dying all along, and those who do will go into Christ consciousness through resurrection. We will be making this shift as a conscious planet, as though we were 1,000,000 years further advanced. Many higher aspects of life everywhere are begging to come down here, either through birth or as walk-ins, to directly experience this, because it is so unusual. And there's a few more things I'd like to add in regards to this article. That is the end of the article. And thank you all for listening. I mean, it was long, but it's my go-to. And I want to thank that someone in the faraway galaxy who first conceived of the idea. I want to thank the Syrians, the ambassadors who went to the Galactic Command, and the Galactic Command, and of course, the Creator. And I'd like to say, well, if the Syrians can do this for us, you know, we're so protected. And all of us are going to go into the Christ consciousness. And they never gave up on us. They had a plan and they followed it through. And there's so many other groups now. They also have their plans. And they are also following it through. And it's tied into the bigger plan. And, you know, the last dates in the article were 1992 and went beyond critical mass. And that is 23 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fine. We're going to have a beautiful ride, and everybody is working together on this. And the goddess energy is now coming through. The energy of love. It's just pouring into our planet. And it's making things so much easier. And it's bringing magic to our lives. And I think this was the plan all along, is to bring forth more so of the goddess energy with the God energy. And thank you very much for allowing me to read this. It was much needed, and it sets the stage for what Cynthia has to say and Mare. So I'm turning the call over to you and muting out. Thank you.
I love you, Marianne.
Love you too.
Thank you. And I just want to say that in somewhere I've heard 96 and 98, and I think I've even heard 99, the Anunnaki came over to the light. The primary, I'm going to call them deities, is the best English word I can think of. There could be some argument with that, and I would probably agree with every bit of it, but it kind of gives an overall gist of these beings and these entities who could see that we were evolving into what is called the Christ consciousness. Now, what the Christ consciousness is to me exemplified in just a few tiny little quotes from the Bible that were the words of Jesus. He said, "What you do unto the least of these, you do it unto me." In other words, if you hurt a child, if you hurt anything, the very least, the helpless widow, the orphan, what you do unto the least of these, you're doing it unto me. Okay? We're talking quantum physics here. And the other thing he said on the other end of the spectrum was, I and the Father are one. And then he says, swinging back into the middle and making the pyramid, and listen to me carefully, people, because they had to keep the truth in there. That's their game plan, is they say enough of the truth to lure you in, and then they just make a twist. So there's a lot of truth they had to leave in there. The next thing he said, which brought us into the middle and makes the pyramid, is, and please listen, all that I do, ye shall do, and more than this shall ye do. I don't know how it can get any clearer than that. When one is harmed, all are harmed. What you do unto the least of this, you do it unto me. When one is harmed, all is harmed. Well, hey, what you do unto the least of this, so you do it unto me. If you take in the orphans and take good care of them, if you look after the widows, if you go rescue the lost lambs, whatever you do unto the least of these, you rescue the little bird that fell from its nest, the least. You do it unto the whole being of God. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Period. It's math. It's algorithms. it's philosophy, it's religion, it's astronomy. I mean, you want to follow all the roads up to the top of the mountain. Guess what? We're all one. That's what you're going to find. Many roads up the mountain, but only one top. All those roads was one mountain, and it led to one place. And that place is what I just said. It's a place where what you do unto the least of these, you do it unto me, and I and the Father are one, and all that I do, ye shall do and more. Why? Because we're all one. So the best thing that we can do for anybody, anywhere, for any reason, in any way, from every kind of angle you can come up with, is individually to become enlightened, period. Because when one is helped, all are helped. You want to help everybody? You want to help the dolphins? You want to rescue the farm animals? And save the forest? And whatever else is going on? Then be enlightened. And what is enlightenment? It's just what I said. It's a place where what you do unto the least of these, you do it unto me, and I and the Father are one. And see, the thing about the law of one, and then we'll get into the full moon happening on Saturday, is it affects everything when you invoke the law of one. Everything. And that's a very precise scientific field, because when I'm saying everything, I am talking about 3 nervous systems in your body. The Bible says, know ye not that ye are gods? It says you are made in the image and likeness of God. Okay, well, the image and likeness of God is the image and likeness of God. Well, what is that? Well, go figure. Go figure what it is. But I'll tell you one thing it is. That first cell of the impregnated egg in your mother's womb at the moment of conception divides. And it divides again and again and again, and it makes what's called the flower of life. So every cell in your body is not a separate cell. It is that same cell that has divided and replicated your whole life. It is one cell. But guess how many times it has replicated and specialized? The last I heard in the scientific literature was 72 trillion cells in your body. Do you know what a trillion is? It's 1,000 million. No, excuse me. A billion is 1,000 million. And a trillion, I think, is 1,000 billion. It's a lot of cells. But they're all that same cell that have divided and specialized. Well, don't you think that's what we are? We're the same God that's divided and specialized. As above, so below. It's right there. Therefore, you literally are not only one with everything out there, they are literally you. And therefore, when you do the law of one, you're only affecting yourself. There's only one self. It's all an inside job. And the way it works is it's an illusion. It's like a hall of mirrors. And in this illusion and hall of mirrors, you've got three nervous systems. You've got the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a vegetative state. It's when you go to sleep, and it's when you meditate. You're totally unaware of the outer world, and the inner world is more real than anything else. That's the parasympathetic nervous system, and it activates the immune system. And if you didn't go into deep dreamless sleep every night, you'd be dead in 10 days, because it's in deep dreamless sleep that your body repairs itself. And the deep dreamless sleep state is 0 to 4 oscillations per second. It's called the delta brainwave. And if you don't go into it every night for a certain amount of time, your body cannot heal. Now, what is your body? It's one cell that has divided into 72 trillion cells. And in that deep dreamless sleep, it remembers its oneness. And it heals. And why does it heal? And how does it heal? It heals through three things. Through omnipotence. That's one thing. Through omniscience. And through omnipresence. Now, omnipotence equates to power. Big-time power. Will, faith, intent. Omniscience refers to wisdom. And omnipresence refers to love. And those three colored digital rays that came out of that Syrian mothership, or whatever kind of ship it was, that cigar ship, was red, which is the color of omnipotence in the Kabbalah, blue, which is the color of omniscience, and green, which is the color, believe it or not, of grace and mercy. That's how they did it. And what we're doing is we're waking up from mind control. We've got all this huge power. It's as if our great uncle had left us $1 billion in the bank, but we were convinced we had no money. And some little bird came and said, hey, didn't you hear about the will? Didn't you hear that you were left all this money? And we're going, not really. And when we actually go and check the will and we see we actually have the money, then maybe we can realize we're not that poor after all. And that's an analogy of where we're going through right now, is we're all waking up to the fact that we're God and that we have this infinite power. And this article that Marianne read can give you something for your logical mind to wrap itself around, because this is researchable material, even though they've tried to hide it from us. Now, looking at the full moon chart of this Saturday, this full moon in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I am, is happening at 2:35 p.m. on Saturday. So if you're in the Central Time Zone, that would be 1:35, I guess. And then just add it wherever you are. But you can just go online and ask. And our coordinates, latitude and longitude, are sacred numbers. And that's why the Illuminati are having a big to-do here during September, amongst all their other festivities. And so I like to give the astrology charts because I leave here number one, but also my location, 33 degrees and 32 minutes north, and 2, parts from that, and then 84 degrees and 45 minutes and 38 seconds, and another 38 the people who wrote this down, they didn't put the symbols right, west, but that's some kind of dealy going on. Actually, Atlanta, Georgia, I have to say this. There's a reason why its name is Atlanta, and it sounds like Atlantis, and I know that reason, and I don't think I want to take the time right now to explain it. But it says on September 25th through 27th, at the Tomorrow World, Tomorrowland, celebrating false love and light, the Antichrist, opening gates and portals. It's a thing they're having. The Pope will be holding Mass at Madison Square Garden in New York City the day before that, and it will also be addressing the UN General Assembly of World Leaders, and this is during the Feast of the Tabernacles, and on the 24th, the Madonna concert, which is Desecration of the Bride and the Arrival of the Falling Angels in Philadelphia, and the Pope will be addressing the U.S. Congress on that day, the first time in world history, and I believe he will also be in Philadelphia, but oh, God. It's just too much to read right now. I can't go down that path. But anyway, those, I told you, like, how the Anunnaki came over to the light somewhere between 96 and 99. But some of their rebels didn't. And these very inbred families that had been trained to do these deals through mind control and hypnosis since childhood didn't know what else to do but to keep on doing what they'd been trained to do. And so there you have this drama that you've seen played out, that you'll be seeing played out in September. But one reason I was so just blown away by Marianne reading this article tonight is to let you know not to worry. Because now my throat chakra here. I feel now what Marianne was feeling with the throat chakra. It means I think that you're supposed to read out of this full moon. If you're here, I think you are. If you're still awake, we've been talking.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Would you please read? Do you have the chart in front of you?
No, I don't have that.
Okay, I have it here. Okay. I am going to ask you to read on Monday night we covered the rising sign, and we covered the north node, and we covered where the Earth and Moon is. But I'm getting a intuitive feeling that we need to read where the Earth and the Moon together are on Saturday during the full moon. Because remember, during a full moon, the Earth is exactly opposite the Sun. They oppose each other. So would you read 7 degrees Pisces? This is where the Sun and the Earth are together, opposing the... Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's the Moon and the Earth, not the Sun and the Earth. The Moon and the Earth are both at exactly 7 degrees Pisces. And the Sun will be exactly at 7 degrees Virgo. So we're going to read, because we're on the Earth, and the Moon is very close to us, and it's full that night. So this is where we're going to be, is where Mir is reading now. It's the heavenly host of Atharam.
Okay, 7 degrees Pisces, Atharam, spelled Atherom, the angels of education. Beloved, Pisces is the last constellation of the astrological cycle, after which begins another cycle, another springtime. Take it. Pisces culminates the lessons and divine virtues of the heavenly hosts of the 360 degrees of the zodiac, and therefore represents the outcome
of living a life of divine consciousness. The feelings of Pisces weave together and are the result of feelings of willpower and love. Heavenly hosts of Pisces, the wisdom of the heart, inspire humankind in successfully living the life suggested by the 12 constellations. We, the angels of Astrology, govern the culmination of learning, science, research, education. We bring good fortune and success in any field of intellectual endeavor. We help people obtain the material they need for their research and can make them literally omniscient in any field of study or science, as it is within our power to reveal all secrets. Each person already contains the pattern of godhood, made in the image of God. In the same way, an acorn has the code for a mighty oak tree already present within it. Awaken your divine qualities through meditation so that your identity is revealed to you in its entirety. Excellence in any field of knowledge may be obtained by meditating on the qualities of the letters of our name, whereby any field of inquiry opens up and genius is achieved. With moderate whole being practice, divine qualities actualize automatically whenever you so desire, because the mechanical part of the brain takes over functions of repetitive skill. You can see this in typing, driving, speaking, walking. With each practice session, identification with the divine virtues deepens until spirit, mind, emotions, and body are permanently bonded with this quality. I and the Father are one. Meditate on understanding the phrases as above, so below, and as within, so without. Then you will comprehend how it is possible to be filling all space outside with the out-breath, and also the opposite, filling your inner body with the in-breath as well. Since the same skills and brain waves apply equally to all the divine virtues, once the first letter is encompassed, all others are relatively easy. Ability increases until every time a letter is spoken, or a color is seen or imagined, or a musical note heard, or a sensation perceived, consciousness easily identifies with universal mind. In this way, the endocrine system produces organic chemicals that prevent aging. For you will have reached a level of power, enlightenment, love, and youthful immortality. Learn single letters first, then join them to invoke specific combinations of virtues when certain effects are desired in the material world, or to become one in consciousness with the heavenly hosts. The names of the angels, when used in this way, can demonstrate their full presence and power. Astrology, the angels of education.
Thank you, Mir. Now that is where we are on the earth. And one thing I need to kind of help you with, a lot of you already know this, but there's the four elements called fire, air, water, and earth, and they correspond to our delta, theta, alpha, and beta brainwave states that develop at four different times in our life. The delta is dominant in infancy, theta in childhood, alpha in adolescence, and beta from puberty on. And to do the cosmic language, which she was just discussing, you have to bring these into alignment. In other words, you have to get under your own control what you are willing, what you intend, what you desire. It can't be what your mommy desires. It can't be what the latest fad on TV, the billionaire corporations paying all these models and mind control experts to make you go spend your money on so you can impress the imaginary whatever. It can't be what your rabbi wants you to desire. It has to be a desire that comes from your most pure and innocent self as a divine being. It can't be somebody else's desire. Because remember, all 72 trillion of those cells specialize. So even though we're all one being, and we're really all the same self, each of us has a unique soul purpose. And you can prove that because there's no two DNA alike, there's no two fingerprints alike. As above, so below. We're all the same being, but we're slightly different, and that's how you make a hologram. Just study holograms, just Google it. It's not that hard to understand. You have one light that comes through slightly different filters, and you'll understand it. Just Google holograms. So anyway, the point I'm making is this, is you have to take over control of your own will, what you desire. Don't do this guilt trip of, oh, I need to desire what so-and-so said I should desire. No, you don't. You need to desire what your spirit and your soul longs for in the most pure and innocent part of your being. Okay, that's what you need to desire. You've got to get back control of your will. Then you got to get back control. If you've done that, you can get back control of your mind. And you can start thinking about what you will. As when you will something, you do it with omnipotence, which equates to faith. And that's what we're going through between August 22nd and September 22nd. Is everybody's wills are being recalibrated. I'm just letting you know. So that we can be back in touch with our pure divinity within, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, is finding the kingdom of heaven within, which is what Jesus said. He said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else shall be added unto you. The kingdom of heaven is found within, parasympathetic nervous system. You have to go within and find your innocence, your purity that you began this life with as an infant. You can ask your cellular memory to let you remember before you were programmed by anybody. And then you will what that child willed. And I can tell you right now what the child willed. It's the law of one. When you're in that delta brainwave state, you experience yourself as one with everything, with mommy, with daddy, with the kitchen sink. Everything is you, and you're so delighted to be experiencing with your five senses these other parts of yourself, i.e., what you do unto the least of these, you do it unto me. I remember my father telling me that he changed the tag on my mother's car, which was a Henry J., which is a car that, they stopped producing way back. And I came crying to Mother, and I said, Mother, Daddy took something off the Henry J car. He's hurting Henry J. I mean, I experienced that car as myself, and when Daddy took that tag off the car, it broke me into tears because I was a little tiny kid. And the Bible says it, except ye be as little children, ye shall in no wise enter the kingdom of heaven. And remember that the kingdom of heaven is found within. And what's going to happen with all this global announcement and the money and da-da-da-da-da, the Anastasia stuff, is that all these stressors, these stresses that have been put on us to keep us from going within will be removed. Not only the stresses financially, but also chemically and technologically and environmentally and nutritionally and educationally. We're going to all hear the truth. In all ways, the stress is going to be removed, and there'll be nothing left to do but to go within and find the kingdom of heaven. And then all else is added, right? All else. And what do you say? Well, what does that mean? It means everything. Anything you could possibly desire will be added unto you. Because when you go within and find the kingdom of heaven, you know you're one with everything, and you're not going to use that power to cause harm to anything. You would never do that. You'll be just like Jesus Christ, like the Buddha, like all the great masters. You will walk softly upon the earth, and everything will be blessed by your breath. It will be blessed by your glance. It will be blessed by your presence. Why? Because you're blessing it. Why? Because it's you, and you love it. And that's what this ascension is all about. And let's see how we're doing on time. Not that well. We're kind of, okay, listen. What we need to read next is the midheaven, because the midheaven is the overall impact on the mass conscious mind. The midheaven of this chart, I mean, I could go on for days on this chart. I mean, there's so much here, it's just off the scale. For example, the North Node is the protection of animals, and it's exactly conjunct Mercury. To the degree. The North Node is 2 degrees Libra and 11 seconds, and Mercury is 2 degrees Libra and 33 seconds, master numbers. You round that up because they have both gone through the whole second degree, and the North Node is 11 minutes into the third degree, and Mercury is 33 minutes into the third degree. And it's the protection of animals. And I talked about that. We read that message on Monday night's call, which you can go back to the archives on the blog spot and listen to. And that was a wonderful call. They're all wonderful calls. But, Mayor, how about 22 Virgo, my friend? 22 Virgo, because that is the midheaven on this chart. And what she's about to read is the overall effect on the planet, on the mass consciousness. 22 Virgo.
Okay, 22 Virgo.
Yep.
And this is Breathio, the angels of material laws and justice.
Thank you.
Beloved, we protect people in matters of earthly living. Through the virtues of the letters of our name, Breathio, we offer protection from all sorts of harm. We inspire individuals to have command over their will and feeling, so only what is desired is brought into manifestation. We inspire clear guidance so that genius is available, and knowing of unity so that protection and safety are desired for all. We especially inspire understanding of the 4 levels of awareness, the delta, theta, alpha, and beta states, and how these must be in accord with divine being. We open eyes to see with love and awaken indwelling perfection in self and others. Most children in the womb and up to 4 years age of 4, when delta state is naturally dominant, intuitively sense the power, love, and light of our presence and of the many heavenly hosts. By remembering oneself as a small child, it is possible to again dwell in patterns of oneness with all. This state is also entered each night in deep, dreamless sleep. Quieting the mind and entering visions and emotions of the heart space lead to awareness of profound inner peace and pure knowing. The dream time, where all is happening simultaneously and wholeness is experienced. This leads to the peace that passes understanding. Justice and harmony are predicated on the original law, the highest and fundamental law, the law of one. This law states that we are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are healed. To create the greatest protection and goodwill, invoke this law, addressing it to all beings on all levels. Because of free will, the heavenly hosts of justice and protection are called into even greater service through prayers of those who desire protection under divine law. By calling forth the law of one, a child of light and love establishes the ever-existing connection with all beings and unites with them in consciousness as one. At this level of awareness, connections with omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence, and infinite love are attuned to and established for the highest good of all. Whatever injustice has been endured must be corrected. Each act affects the entire unified field, the entire being of divinity. By law, the perfection, love, and beauty of divine being must manifest on every level. Sometimes protection is accomplished by immediate return of harmful energy back to the sender. This is especially enhanced by merging with love in unity through the power of the word. When returning misused energy, results can be powerful and swift so that learning is immediate and the one causing injustice quickly learns lessons of harmlessness. Gaps in time are removed in such a karmic return of reaping what you sow. In this way, the sender learns through personal experience about legality and harmony in all worlds. Divine interventions often accelerate healing of injustices. As people and groups reap results of their creations, they learn through personal experiences to create what they themselves want at the core of their being, namely the virtues of tranquility, beauty, justice, forgiveness, compassion, and understanding that all life requires. We make sure events turn out favorably for those we protect when they are wrongly treated. Adepts of high wisdom who have attained harmony on the 4 levels of will, mind, feelings, and senses are free of any injustice. The lightest worlds are accessed in the space of the heart, a space in which all are one and perfect. It is cosmically legal that all other worlds reflect this wholeness and perfection. Keeping a harmonious heart is the best means to avoid being unjustly accosted or accused. Move in affinity with all so you are protected. True legality, justice, and concord in all visible worlds is the divine virtue of the double F of our name. When you ask for assistance from the angels of Brefio, we join our consciousness with yours through the space of the heart. Brefio. The angels of material laws and justice.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. That is the outcome. Now, keep in mind that this justice is not limited to human beings. This justice applies to the animal kingdom, to the plant kingdom, which has been assaulted by Monsanto, by the chemtrails. It applies to the mineral kingdom. Because when one is harmed, all are harmed. We are all one with all these kingdoms. And these intelligences that we're talking about here, these are not channeled messages. These actually come from Kabbalah. Back in the mid-'80s, I met a guy who's probably the greatest magician on the planet. And he said there were 10,000 books on Kabbalah, but only 4 of them were correct. Because they, like everything else, had been tampered with. And those 4 correct books, in case you want to get them, are the 4 volumes by Franz Bardon, Bardon. Go to Amazon.com. I suggest strongly you get the cheaper used ones, because the earlier ones I like better. The older the books, the better. And they're cheaper to boot. And, Franz, Franz, Bardon, Bardon. And just get the ones actually by him. There's 4 of them. One is called Frabato the Magician. If you read that, you'll understand politics. And then the other 3 are Initiation into Hermetics, The Practice of Magical Evocation, and The Key to the True Kabbalah. Now, I've been studying these books since '85. And that's where these messages come from that she's reading. They're very, very ancient. And I could tell you a long story about that, but I'm not going to, because we're coming out of the call here. Elizabeth, let me turn this over to you, my sweet, dear, beautiful Diamond Council sister. And if you could share that beautiful meditation that you referred to at the beginning of the call, we will all be blessed.
Say a few more sentences. It should be up in 1 minute. Okay, guys, here we go. Namaste. Love you all. Keep shining, Diamonds. Welcome to the Diamonds Network, August 25th, 2015. And we are going to bring forth a meditation for you, for your use through this time now, titled, We Must Have Happiness, and with that, beauty. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths, sit back, loosen your clothing, relax, and use this for a foundation of creating beauty and happiness in your life. What you imagine, you become. As you change, so goes the world. We are all one. So we must have happiness with that beauty. Okay, then.
Quiet rest. Throughout this day, my reminders to you will carry you away to re-experience what love is. I am love, and you will find me in the quiet place. Close your eyes and take a deep, slow breath in and let it out slowly. Do you feel it? The quiet, peaceful stillness is returning. And you are here with me in this quiet, restful place. In this space, there are no thoughts of who you are, no memory of pressing things to be done. You are not a father or a mother, not a boss of anyone. You are just you, resting in me. Enjoying the quiet, calming stillness. Knowing that all is well. There is nowhere to go and nothing to be done. For all is perfect and in divine order. Everything is unfolding just as it should. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. The flowers are filling the air with their scents. Breathe in. Rest in this quiet, peaceful joy. What feelings, thoughts, memories rise to the surface inside of you when you are in this space? Notice these things. I am love. I am there in the midst of you, in them. These loving thoughts and feelings and memories. Whatever makes you smile. Whatever causes you to make the sound of I am in it, for I am the cause of all joy. Continuous, peaceful, restful joy that settles your soul and nourishes your heart. You feel grounded, balanced, confident, inspired, creative, released, satisfied, refreshed, energized. Ready to begin again. Every time the memories of these thoughts bubble up within your heart, I am love. Then I am with you in every tender thought that arises and makes you want to stop and linger here for just a little while longer. I am love, and where I am, there is no shame, no guilt, no fear. Only quiet, peaceful joy that makes your heart sing. are no words that can express the depth of the emotions at this level. And yet, all creation is touched, is moved to join in the chorus of unseen waves of energy expressing praises of gratitude and thanks and appreciation. For who I am in you. Abide in me today. Abide in my love. Let every loving thought that you notice bring you back into this loving balance of knowing that all truly is well.
Here I am in that still, quiet place, a smile on my face. I'm thinking different now, and I want Nim to bring us back again. Nim, read this again. I'm thinking different now, and I found my little child in me. Oh, I remember the playground days, playing on the monkey bars with all my friends, and there was not a care in the world. The smell of green grass and the flowers nearby. Me and my friends were laughing and having fun, climbing on the playground, and just enjoying. And when the day was over, I just wanted to play all day long. I didn't want to go inside to go to bed. I wanted to play longer. But I was gratified when my mommy called me in. The next day, I go to sleep, and the next morning, I'm going to get up and play with my friends and run and swim, kick the ball, and just have fun on the outside air that's breathed in, the wind that blew against their face, the apple trees. We picked an apple and had a little snack in the middle of the day. We just had fun. And the rides in the car. When we had a day that my mommy and daddy said, we're going to go to the zoo. We thought about it for 2 or 3 days, and we were so excited. We kept asking Mom and Dad, when is the day? Is it tomorrow? When are we going? And we all got in there. The time came, and we all got in the car. And that ride to the zoo seemed so long. We were all excited, and we were all talking amongst ourselves in the car, brothers and sisters, and our mom and our dad. And we got to the zoo. Got out of the car, and waited in that line so excited, the brothers and sisters jumping. I want to go see the elephants. I want to see the polar bears. Let's go to the dolphins. We just had fun. Rode the train. And the baseball games and the hot dogs. It was fun. And our doggies and our pets and our cats that we loved so well. Stuffed animals we hugged at night. And the dreams we had, the dreams of flying and creating beauty. It was a blast. I remember all of my little child reminding me So you keep thinking, you keep imagining the beauty every day. Now my little child has come back. Got my little child done playing for the day. Mommy and Daddy calling me in to say goodnight and go to bed and dream, sweet dreams. Mm-hmm. Now my little child's going back into the sweet, quiet way. Mm-hmm. So read that again, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Throughout this day, my reminders to you will carry you away and into your sleep and into this night. You will remember and you will re-experience what true love is. It is me in you, loving you the way I do. Thank you.
Read it again, ma'am.
I am loved, and you will find me in this quiet place. Yes, your eyes closed. Do you feel it? The quiet, peace, peacefulness, stillness is returning. And you are here with me in this quiet, restful peace. And in this space, there are no thoughts of who you are or who you have been. No memory of the pressing things to be done. You are not a father or a mother, not a boss of anyone. You are just you, that innocent, precious, sparkling, beautiful you, resting in me. Enjoying the quiet, calming stillness, knowing that all is well. Nowhere to go, nothing to be done, and all is in perfect order, perfect perfection, everything unfolding just as we should. The sun is shining. I can hear the birds singing. The flowers are calling. Come and smell the scent of my beautiful scent. Breathe in the smell of this beautiful, quiet, peaceful, restful joy. Let those thoughts and feelings and memories arise to the surface as you slip away into that dreamland where there is no time, no space, just love, just light, just beauty. these things. I am love, and you are love. I am there with you, in the midst of you, and these thoughts, these beautiful memories and feelings that make you so happy and make you smile. That cooing sound of a baby that is in perfect, grounded, balanced, confident, inspired, creative, released, satisfied, refreshed, and nourished heart of a child that knows that everything is already taken care of and that all of its needs are met right there, resting in its mother's arms, with its mother's breath, smelling the scent of its mother, the scent that lets it know that it is home, and it is wanted, and it is loved, and it is accepted, and it is celebrated, because there is perfect rest, and joy, and peace. And this place where there is nothing to be done, for I just am, and all is quiet and peaceful, and my heart sings, and my heart floats, and my heart rises with that eternal, boundless energy of all creation flowing together in such a beautiful give and take of breath in and breath out. And there are no words that need to be spoken. And yet, all creation rejoicing in a choir of unseen waves of expressing energy, pulsing and praising in gratitude and thanks and appreciation. For you are and I am love. And now we can continue on in this time of peaceful, quiet rest.
So you see, we must have happiness with that beauty. Keep shining, diamond. Keep shining.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.